Hello everyone. We are starting today's workshop on introduction to Git and GitHub. We have enough participants, so we'll start the session now. My name is Anmol. I'm currently studying in Vellore Institute of Technology, and I'm a Microsoft student ambassador at Alpha level. And today we have Jigyasa Gupta. She's from Bangalore, Dayanand Sagar College, and she'll be our co-host for today's event. And she is also a Microsoft student ambassador at beta level. Okay, so we'll get started with the event. Uh, First of all, I'll be telling you about the program, and then we will get started with Git. Also, as we have earlier mentioned, I hope everyone has downloaded the Git executable file. If not, I will share the file in the chat. Right, we'll get started. So I will tell you about the program first. Then we'll understand the workflow of today's workshop, and then we'll begin with the Git and GitHub session. Okay. So what is MLSA program? Now, whenever I use the term MLSA in the entire session, it means that Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program. Okay. So I'll be using it in a shorter format. So MLSA program is a program. It sponsors the students who are interested in learning new and related technologies. Okay. So it is a program organized by Microsoft, and it helps you connect to all over. It helps you connect to students all over the world. Eligibility, you have to be minimum of 16 years, as well as you have to be registered in a college or university. Okay. Now benefits. Talking about the benefits, you might be asking that why you must be spending so much time on these events and these ambassador programs. Yes, exactly. But these ambassador programs also come with a lot of benefits. The very first benefit it is that you get a chance to network with other students across the globe. Uh, and also you get a chance to improve your public speaking skills. Right now, even I'm not good at my public speaking skills, but yet I'm trying to improve them by hosting these events. And also you get lot of perks and goodies. There are various levels in these programs. Like right now I'm in my alpha level, Jigyasa is in our beta level. So your performance gets reviewed. There are three levels: alpha, beta, and gold. And depending upon your performance, you get the perks. Okay. So I'll be sharing you the link right now. How to apply this? Just give me a minute. We'll switch back to the chat. Right. I have shared the link in the chat below. Uh, you can visit the website and you can apply for the ambassador program from here. Okay. And also for those who have not yet downloaded the Git file, I request you to download the Git file immediately so that we can begin with the session. Now, once you click on this link, I'll just guide you to the website. Yeah. All you have to do is sign in with your recent Microsoft account. There will be basic questions asked like your name, your personal details, your educational details, as well as they'll be asking you to submit your resume, the projects which you have made so far. And at the end, there will be three questions, out of which one question you have to answer in a video format, upload in a YouTube or Google Drive link, and then add the link in the portal. So this program is reviewed quarterly. So every 6 months, there will be a new set of ambassadors joining the program. So if you apply right now, you have to wait for a couple of months in order to get reviewed by the team. And not all applications get selected. Only best of all the best applications are get reviewed by the team. So we'll get started. Okay. So we'll try to understand the workflow of the workshop. First, we'll begin with understanding the version control systems. We'll try to understand what version control systems are, and then we'll understand the basic definition of Git and GitHub. Then we'll move through with the real world applications. Then I'll guide you, those who are not yet installed, I'll guide you how to install Git on your desktop. After that, we will be performing and understanding basic Git commands. And then I'll also teach you how to set up your GitHub account. We'll perform some operations on your GitHub account. And at the end, I'll be sharing you bonus resources for better understanding. Now we have muted the participants. In case of any queries, you can drop a message in the Teams chat. I have the Teams chat open parallelly, so I'll respond to it immediately. And also, I have one request from the participants. I request you to stay throughout the meet, okay? And also, you perform the GitHub code, whatever we are doing here, parallelly, so that you get a better understanding, okay? We'll get started. So first, we'll see what version control systems are. So version control system gives users the facility to track various versions of the application, okay? Now, talking in simple terms, let's consider an example. You're working in a hackathon. You have a team of 3 people. Okay. Yeah, I'll be sharing this PPT. Don't worry. At the end of the workshop, we'll be sharing the presentation as well as your certificates also. Okay. Let's get back to the slide. So basically, your work. We were trying to understand VCS with an example. Okay. So let us consider that you are participating in a workshop with a team of 3 people. Now you have divided the task. First person is designing your homepage. Second person is designing your sign up page, and third person is working on something else. You all have done your task individually. Now it's time to merge your program. Okay, so doing that manually is a very hectic task, and it will be very difficult for you to merge the files. So that's where version control systems were introduced. So basically, version control systems help you to track your project history, and it helps you to work together. Now, what do I mean by tracking project history? Whenever you're working with a team, it will note down the changes of whoever has made. Like for example, if I am committing any changes to the website, then that will be tracked down. And in case of any bug or error, we can always restore back to the previous version. Okay, this session is going to be for most probably 1 hour and 20 minutes. That will be the maximum duration, and we'll be also conducting a quiz at the end of the workshop. So I hope you stay there. Yeah. Now, what are the benefits of version control system? First of all, it helps in hassle-free software development. It also helps you easily collaborate with your teammates. You can trace your project details. Branching and merging also is possible. Don't worry about the terms. We'll check branching and merging later in the session. We'll be covering that also. And also, it helps you detect the change in history of your project. So these are the benefits of working with a VCS. Now we'll switch to the next slide. Okay, so VCS, which is version control system, are basically of 2 types: centralized as well as distributed version control system. First, we'll be seeing centralized version control system. So, talking about centralized version control system, we'll try to understand this with a diagram. Okay, so in VCS, you have a system. Okay, first I'll talk about the technical terms. In a VCS, a central repository holds all the files of the project, and developers work on the working directory. Okay, now I'll try to explain you in simple terms. You're working on your local system. Okay, you have written some code. Now what you do is you directly commit it to a central repository. Okay, in case if you have labs in your college, then you might have know this, that whatever changes you make are not stored in your local computer. They are directly committed to the server. So server and central repository are kind of similar over here. Okay, so this is what the structure of centralized version control system. Now, one big disadvantage of centralized version control system is its breakdown issue. Okay, so suppose consider there is some error or some kind of issue in the central repository. Okay, so in that particular case, all your developers will not be able to work further. Okay, since they will not be able to commit their code to the central repository, and they have to wait until your central repository is repaired and it gets back to the working condition. Okay, so this is one of the big disadvantages of centralized version control system. And in order to overcome this problem, they came up with a distributed version control system. Okay, now in a distributed version control system, you write your code in your local system, then you have a local repository between your system and a central repository. Okay, so basically what you do is you write some basic code, you push it to a local repository, and then from local repository you push it to a central repository. This is what the structure of a distributed version control system. Okay, now in this case, if you check, whenever there is a breakdown in the central repository, the developers can still work because they will be having a local repository where they will be committing all their codes. So this is the problem which we had earlier. We overcome it using the distributed version control system. So I hope everyone is clear. Just drop yes if you have understood what version control systems are. I'll be waiting for your responses. All right, great, great. Okay, let's switch to the next slide. Thank you guys. I'm getting good responses from your side. Okay, so now we'll see what Git is. Okay, so Git is a free open source software first of all. Okay, and it is an example of distributed version control system. Okay, so it tracks the changes that we make in the source code. Also, as we have seen earlier, it allows us multiple developers to work together. Okay. Now, one point before starting the event, I also received a text from someone asking about the difference between Git and GitHub. So we have to understand it that Git and GitHub are not similar. Okay, GitHub is a GUI version of Git, which is like kind of hosted on the website form. Okay, most probably Git is a part of GitHub, but we don't call both as same. Okay, so there is a lot of difference between Git and GitHub. I hope at the end of the session you will be figuring out them. Okay, all right. So now, throughout the session, I want to tell you that we will be working on terminal. Okay, now there are multiple terminals available. You can also use the VS Code. You can also use your local terminal. For example, if you hit terminal, this is your local terminal. Okay, you can also use this one, or you can also use the VS Code terminal. So there are multiple terminals available. I'll be using Hyper throughout the session. What is Hyper? Hyper is nothing. It is also a kind of terminal. But if you don't have Hyper, no worries. You can also use the Windows built-in terminal, which I have showed you earlier. There are no differences. The only reason I'm using Hyper is it looks quite colorful, and also it's easy to navigate through. So I'll be using Hyper. I request you to open local terminal, which I've showed you earlier, and we'll be performing these operations on the terminal throughout the session. All right. I hope everyone has Git installed on this system. Just drop a yes. No, it's not PowerShell. You have to type terminal, terminal. Yeah, local one. You can use the local one in case you don't have a hyper. That doesn't matter. All right, so we'll get started. I hope everyone has Git installed. So first, we'll check whether they have Git installed on your system. In order to do that, all you have to do is hit git/version. Hit enter. Now, when you do this, you will check that it returns you the Git version installed on your system. So if you're getting this, okay, great job. You have already installed Git on your system. If you're not, I've already shared the PDF on how to install Git on the WhatsApp group. So I request you to follow that in order to like continue with us. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, whenever you install Git, you have to configure Git. Now, what does configuration means? Basically, we tell Git who we are. Okay. So uh, when you initialize the Git, from that point, what Git does is it will start tracking down all the files you have in that particular folder. Now, how do we configure your Git? We will be telling Git our two details. First one is we'll be telling Git our name as well as our email. Okay. So first we'll set our user name. How do we do that? Git config space / global user dot name, and then you hit space and write your name within double quotes, and now hit enter. Now, when you do this, Git recognizes you as Anmol, and whenever you commit changes, it will be storing your name as well as your username email. Now we'll also configure our user email. So how do we do that? Instead of name, we just replace it with email. So git config / global, okay, user dot email, and within double quotes, I'll be writing my email ID. Now, you might be asking, what does this global mean? Okay, so this global makes sure that these settings are applied throughout your desktop or throughout your machine. Okay, so that's the meaning of global. Now, if you check out, we have configured our Git. We have given Git our username as well as our user email. Now, these details, your name and your user email, are stored in a separate hidden file, okay, which will not be visible to you right now, but we will learn how to access those hidden files also in the terminal. So don't worry about that. Now we'll move to the next slide. All right. So we have configured the Git. Let's check if you have configured properly or not. Okay. So how do we do that? Just hit git config / global. Same thing. Okay. There are no changes. User dot name. Now when I hit enter, it must return me my name, which I have configured earlier. Okay. All right, it's returning. We'll also check the same for email also. All right, I'm also receiving the email ID. So we have configured the Git properly. Uh, I hope everyone is clear till now. Just drop a message if you have also configured your Git properly. We'll be continuing with it and wait for your responses. Right, I got one, two, three. Great, great. All right, all right. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. So now we'll also learn. Many of you might be asking why we are performing these operations on terminal and not on code editor. Yes, you are correct. We can also do these operations on code editor. But being a developer, it's very important for you to learn how to navigate through your terminal. Okay, because there might be a scenario where you don't have a separate code editor installed on your machine. So you must know how to navigate using your built-in terminal. Okay. So now we'll learn how to open our default code editor from the terminal. All you have to do is just type code and hit enter. Now when you do this, it will automatically open your default code editor. Now for most of you, your default code editor might be set to Vim. Now what is Vim? Students, those who have studied operating systems as well as computer networks might know what Vim is. Vim is a kind of code editor. In Windows, Vim is the default code editor. Now, if you want to change your code editor to VS Code, I'll teach you that in the upcoming slide. But for now, all you have to understand is how to open our default code editor. So I've shown you that. You just come to your terminal, hit code, and once you do that, it will open your whatever your default code editor is. All right. We'll switch the slide. All right. Now, just in case if you feel you have given your configuration details wrongly and you need to update it, so how do we do that? In order to edit your configuration files, you have to type git / git config / global / edit. Okay. Now, when you do this, it will open your hidden file. As I mentioned earlier, these files are hidden, and you will not be able to access them. But using this edit configuration files, you can edit your files and you can change your username. Now, once you come here, you can check that it has stored our email as well as our name. Okay. Now, for those people who are interested to switch VS Code as the default code editor, I would request you to take a snapshot of the screen and add this code. Okay, add this code to your Git configuration files. Okay, some people are typing that I'm not able to open my code editor. All right, code is not recognized as an internal or external command. All right, uh, which terminal are you working on, Mohammed? Just drop a message. No worries. Anyways, we won't be using the code terminal. It is just for your explanation. So even if you're unable to open it, no problem, because you have to make sure the settings are properly set. Okay, the terminal. Okay, the terminal that opened up is CMD. So the CMD is your default code editor. That's why it's opening. You don't have to worry about that. We won't be using the VS Code. We will be working throughout the session with the terminal only. So don't worry about that. You have to just check on Stack Overflow on how to change your GitHub on how to change your GitHub VS Code settings. Yeah. All right. We'll get back to the slide. So as I mentioned, for people those who are interested, yeah, for people those who are interested to change their default VS Code editor, okay, you take a snapshot of this window and can you show again the last command? Okay, just give me a minute, I'll show it. Take a snapshot and you have to add this code in your configuration files and you have to save the file, and once you save it, VS Code will be set as your default code editor. Don't worry guys, if it's not opening, no problem. We are not going to use VS Code throughout the workshop. We will be only using the built-in terminal of our Windows, so no problem. All right. Someone asked to show me the previous slide. Yeah, I have shown. Working now. Can we continue the session? Yeah, you can work on VS Code also, no issues. All right, now next slide. Uh, we will learn how to view the files in our current directory. Okay, how do we do that? You have to type ls. Now, what does ls means? Ls means list items. When I hit enter, it will show me all the files which are present in the HP folder. So how do you learn to navigate between the folders? So right now we are in the C drive, users folders, and then HP. So C/users/HP. And these are the folders and files available in the HP folder. So whenever you want to view the list of the files in your current directory, all you have to do is type ls and then hit an enter. The one you use to open a secret folder. All right. This is the slide, Gaurav. Don't worry, I'll be sharing the PPTs at the end. If you miss it, no problem. You will get the copy of the PPT. So I guess that's not a problem right now. Okay. All right. We have learned how to view our files in the current directory. I'll repeat it once again. All you have to do is ls, which means list items, and hit enter. Now, once you do that, it will be showing you all the files present in your current working directory. Okay. We'll switch to the next slide. Now, we'll be learning how to navigate forward as well as backward in your terminal. Okay. Now, right now we are in the HP folder. Okay. Now I'll look for the desktop folder. Yeah, definitely. You can reach me through WhatsApp in case if you have any queries after the session also. Yeah. So now I will move to the desktop folder. We'll be creating a new folder in the desktop and we'll be working out throughout the session. So I also request you to navigate to your desktop folder. So how do we navigate forward? All you have to do is cd and then you hit a space and you write your directory name. So I'll give cd space. My directory name is I want to go to the desktop folder. Okay. When I hit enter, you can see now we are right now in the desktop folder C/users/HP/desktop. Okay. So we have learned how to navigate forward in the terminal. Now, all right. Jigesa, can you please check the attendees? Please add them to the meet. All right. We'll learn how to navigate backwards. If you want to navigate backwards, you have to do is cd double dot, okay, space double dot and hit enter. Now see, we have navigated one step backwards and we have come back to the HP folder. I hope everyone is clear. We have learned how to navigate forward and backward. I hope everyone is clear. Just drop a yes if, in case you understood everything till now. Right. Okay, I'll move back to the desktop folder since we'll be working throughout the session over there. Okay. Great, great. All right, I'm getting responses also. Right, we'll switch to the next slide. Okay, so now we will learn how to create a new directory or a new folder. Okay, directory and folder are both same terms. So in order to do this, the command is mkdir make new directory. Okay, it means make new directory space the directory name. Okay, so now right now I'll be repeating the folder names again and again so that you guys don't get confused. It is very important. So we will now right now we are in the desktop folder. in the desktop folder, I will be creating a new directory. So how do we do that? Mkdir, okay, mkdir. Now directory name. Now you can give any directory name. Right now I'll be giving the directory name as workshop. All right. I hit enter. Okay, so now if you check here, we have created a new folder called workshop. I hope it's visible. So right now it's empty because we haven't added any files yet. So now we will navigate to the workshop folder. Okay, how do we do that? We have seen it earlier. CD space your directory name. And now if you check the list items, we have seen it earlier. So in the desktop folder, these are the files, and terminal also is showing these files correctly. Okay, so if we check for the workshop folder, we have to navigate to the workshop folder. So how do we do that? It's here. Okay, so we'll navigate it using the command cd. Then we'll type the directory name, that is workshop, and I'll hit enter. So if you check now, right now I'm in my desktop and in the workshop folder. So we have learned how to navigate forward, navigate backward. Uh, it says permission denied. I guess you're working on some other drive, or your C drive is logged. That's the reason you're unable to access or create a new files. So you have to make the changes also. All right, we'll move to the next slide. Now we have learned how to navigate forward in the terminal, navigate backward in the terminal. Also, we have learned how to create a new directory. Okay. Now we will learn initializing a Git repository. Now, what is Git repository? Now, whenever you initialize a repository, okay, from that point of time, what Git does is it will start tracking down all your files present in that folder. Okay, only present in that folder. So right now we are in a workshop folder. For example, if I initialize the Git repository, okay, then what will happen? Git will start tracking down all the files which are present in the workshop folder. Okay, so we'll do this. In order to initialize your Git repository, you have to move to that folder. So we are already in the workshop folder. Now I'll initialize the repository. The command is git init. I hit enter. You see, it tells us that we have initialized empty Git repository in the following directory, following location. Okay. So once you initialize a Git repository, you will see a new term called master over here. So master is a branch. We'll not see about that right now. We'll be covering branches at after few couple of minutes. Uh, After a couple of minutes, and we'll switch to the next slide. So we have also learned how to initialize Git repository. Now, whenever you're working on a project, make sure that you initialize the repository so that Git starts tracking down all your files from that particular point of time. I hope everyone is clear. Just drop a yes in the chat. I'll be asking you to do it frequently so that I could get an acceptance from your side, like you have understood or not. All right, all right, great. We'll switch to the next slide. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are a few hidden files in the whenever you initialize a Git repository. You can see this. Okay. Whenever for me master is not showing. Okay. So it might be showing you as main branch or something like that. It depends upon the terminal you're using. Okay, that's the reason I am using Hyper right now. Hyper is basically a better GUI terminal version. So that is not a problem. We'll be checking out that later also. Don't worry about that. We'll be seeing branches later in the session. Okay. All right. So now I was talking about accessing the hidden Git files. If you check the workshop folder, as soon as we have initialized the Git repository, there is a new hidden Git folder which has these configuration files. Now these files are of no use for us right now. So we will talk about these later. But how do we access these hidden files? Okay, in the terminal. Okay. Now we are in the workshop folder. If I hit ls, which is list items, it does not return me anything because, as I mentioned earlier, these Git files are hidden. Okay, you cannot access them directly via the terminal. So in case if you want to access these hidden Git files, all you have to do is ls space /a. Now when you do this and hit enter, you can see that the hidden files are also visible to you right now. Okay, so we have learned how to check the hidden files also, which we will not be able to use see default by using the ls command. But when we hit ls/a and hit enter, we'll be able to access the hidden files. All right, we'll switch to the next slide. Status. Now, what status is? Whenever you commit something to your repository, now I'm talking in technical terms. You might find it difficult to understand, but don't worry. We'll be understanding it in the next session, next slide also. So whenever you commit something to your repository, what Git does is it basically takes a snapshot of your current changes and it gets stored in a repository. Okay, that is what status. And you can check your Git status. When you type the Git status, it will be returning you the number of commits you have made at or the untracked files you have. So right now in our directory we don't have any files. So first we'll learn how to add new files and then we'll be checking the status one also. Now there is also something called git status slash s. Now this returns you the status of your files in a shorter format. So M here means that you have modified the file3.txt, okay? And D file3.txt means you have deleted the file3.txt. And double question mark file4.txt means you have created a new file called file4.txt, but you haven't added it to staging area. Again, you might ask me what staging area is. Don't worry, these are the technical terms. We'll be covering up slowly. I'll make sure that you understand everything. And also, a file4.txt means you have added a new file called file4.txt. All right. We will check this in briefly once we create couple of files in our workshop folder. We'll now learn how to create files. Now, in order to create a file, we'll use the echo command. You type your text and then you enter your file name. So we'll create that echo. Okay. Now I'll type the text as hello world and then we'll type the file name. So I'll be creating a file with a name called file1.txt. I'll hit enter. All right. Now we will check if the new file has been created. All right. There is a file called file1.txt. Also, it has the text hello world. So it's working properly. So we have also learned how to create a new file using the terminal. Now we will check the git status. As I mentioned earlier, we have created a new file. Now if you type git status and hit enter, no commits yet. It means that we have not committed anything yet. Untracked files. Now what is untracked files? We haven't added these files to staging area yet. Again, what is the staging area? We'll see that right now within a couple of minutes. So file1.txt is not tracked yet. So we will be adding it to staging area and then it will be tracked by the git. Okay. Now we'll switch back to the slide. Also, we'll learn how to delete a file right now. So it's very simple. All you have to do is rm space your file name, rm file1 dot txt. Now make sure that you also give the file extension whenever you're giving the file name. It's very much important, or else you might be getting some kind of error. So when I hit enter, the file1.txt will be deleted from the workshop folder. Yeah, it's deleted. We'll switch back to the terminal. If I check the git status right now, there are no commits yet. And if you try to check it in a shorter format, okay, nothing, because we haven't committed anything yet. Okay, once we make a commit, Git will start tracking the commits and it will review as our activity. Okay, all right. I hope everyone is clear till now. Also, I request you to follow throughout the like perform the task parallelly so that you understand it very clearly. Just drop a yes if it's okay till now. You're checking the chat. Gautam, are you a Mac user or Windows user? Can you just drop a message? Previous slide. All right. Okay, we'll move with the slides again. So this is the very important part of the workshop. Uh, Git and GitHub workflow is a very important topic. A lot of people get confused over here. Don't worry, Gaurav. I will come back to you after the session. I'll guide you. Right now, let me focus on the slides. Okay, so talking about the workflow, it is a very important part while learning Git and GitHub. A lot of people get confused and stuck over here. Okay, and they start the course. Once they reach the workflow part, they get confused and they drop the course. Now, workflow is very important. So I'll be stressing over the word workflow, and I'll make sure that you understand it, because if you don't understand the workflow of how Git and GitHub performs, then probably you might not be able to use them. So we will start understanding the workflow. So the workflow is divided into three categories. Okay, the first one is a local file, the second one is staging area, and the third one is repository. Okay, so what is a local file? Whenever you're working on a local system, that is called a local file. And then we have something called staging area. Okay, we'll see what the staging area is. So when we are done making changes, we add the modified files to the staging area to review our changes. And if everything is good, then we make a commit to the repository. I will try to explain this in simpler terms. Okay, just consider that you're working on a project. You have written enough code and you feel that you have to check your code. So what you do is, once you feel you have written some enough code, we push the code to the staging area. Okay, and then at staging area we review our code. Okay, we check if there is an error or any kind of bugs, and once we feel that everything is correct, then we push it to the repository. I request you to understand the workflow, as it is very much important. If you don't get this, you might not be able to perform the git operations, because next we'll be seeing little complex git operations. So it is very much important for you to understand the git workflow. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. So there are three subdivisions in a git workflow, git or GitHub workflow. All right, first one is the local file, where you, right now we'll be working. Then there is a staging area, and then there is a repository. Now, once we have developed some code and we feel that we have written enough, we push the code to the staging area. What we do at staging area is we review our code. We check if there is any bug or any error in our code. And once we feel that the code is bug free, there are no errors in the code, then we commit it to the repository. Okay. So this is what the Git or GitHub workflow. And I have also explained you what staging area is. In shorter terms, we use the staging area to review our code before committing it to the actual repository. Okay. All right. We'll see this one with an example. So right now we are working on the local file. There are two files, file1.txt and file2.txt. Okay, we have pushed the file1.txt as well as file2.txt to the GitHub workflow, Git staging area. Okay, how do we do that? This is the command. We'll be checking out that later. Don't worry about the commands right now. Focus on understanding the workflow, because it's more important than these commands. Okay, so I'll repeat again. We were in the local folder. We had two files, file1.txt, file2.txt. We pushed it to the staging area. Okay, now from staging area we will review our code. If I feel that okay, everything is correct with file1.txt as well as file2.txt, then I will push it to the repository. Okay, so this is what the Git and GitHub workflow. Now we will learn how to add files to the staging area. All right, we'll begin. In order to add files to the staging area, uh, we will just hit the command git add, and then you have to give your file name. So right now, I repeat the folder names. We are in the workshop folder, okay? And we have only one file, that is called file1.txt. Now you have to understand that the file1.txt is only in our local folder. We haven't pushed that to the staging area yet. And that's what we are seeing. We are learning right now how to push a file to the staging area. So now we'll be pushing file1.txt to the staging area. How do we do that? All you have to do is git add file1.txt and you hit enter. One second. Did not match any files. Okay. Sorry, I deleted the file earlier, so I forgot to add the file again. All right. The folder is empty. That's why it's returning us the error. Don't worry. I'll add the file right now. Echo. We'll give the same text, hello world, and then file1.txt. I hit enter. Now we have the file. Okay. Now we'll be adding the file to the staging area. How do we do that? Git add file1.txt. I hit enter. All right. So now we have added the file1.txt to the staging area. Now if you check git status, okay, it starts tracking down the files. Okay, that's the important part in the whole workflow. Once you push the file to the staging area, it will start tracking down all your files. Okay, so now we haven't committed yet. That's why it's returning us that no commits, and it is showing us that we have added a new file called file1.txt in the staging area. Okay, So I repeat it again. We were in our local folder. We had only one file called file1.txt, and we learned how to push the file to the staging area. All right. I hope everyone is clear till now. I have also attached these snapshots. These snapshots are similar to what we are performing right now here for your future reference, so that whenever you refer this presentation, you will be able to understand it easily. I hope everyone is clear till now. Before we start learning committing the files, just drop a message that you have understood the GitHub workflow. If you have any confusion in the GitHub workflow, type it right now. I'll try to help you out. All right. Okay, I guess everyone is clear. So now we have added the files to the staging area where we were. Yeah, we were in the staging area. Okay. So now we had file1.txt in the local as well as in the staging area. Now we will learn how to push the file from the staging area to the repository. Okay. Now I feel that my file1.txt is bug free. Okay. And it does not have any bug. So I'll push it to the repository. Now how we push a file to the repository? So in order to push a file, you have to type git commit /m, and then within double quotes you write your message. Now you have to remember, whenever you make a commit, you have to enter certain message with the commit, so that the other users, whoever will be accessing the GitHub account, will be able to understand that what changes you have incorporated in the files. Okay. So right now I will hit what we have done. We have added a file one. So I'll just write a dummy message that we have created the first file. Okay. All right. Hit enter. So now we have made our first commit. Now again I repeat, uh, we had the file1.txt in our local. First, initially we pushed it to the GitHub Git staging area. How did we do that? Git add your file name. That's how you push the file to the staging area. And then we push the file1.txt from staging area to the repository. And how did we do that? All you have to do is git commit /m, and within double quotes you have to type your message. Okay, let's get back to the slide. All right, we have learned how to commit the files. We have also made our first initial commit also. Okay, log activity. Now you can access all these commits using the log activity. It's kind of it just reflects you all the activities or all the commits you have made so far. So how do we do that? Just type git log and you hit enter. Now once you do this, it will return you everything. Uh, the commits you have made so far, the commit messages. As you can see, we gave the message earlier as we have created the first file. It also captures the author name. That's why we configured our Git properly, so that now Git can track, okay, Anmol has made these and these changes to the file. It also stores the date, time, as well as a commit ID. Okay. Now what a commit ID? Now whenever you make a commit, these are the following details that is stored by the Git. Okay. So it stores a commit. It stores the message with the individual commit ID as well as the message. This is the message, date and time. You can check the date and time also, as well as the author details. Okay. Now, this commit ID is unique for each and every commit. Using this commit ID, you can revert back your changes. Now, in case if you find that your previous code was much better than the one which you are working right now, then all you have to do is use this commit ID and you can revert back to the previous changes. It's kind of like how we revert back to the changes we make in a database in a MySQL, similar to like, okay. So we have learned how to commit. All right. Till now, we have covered adding files to the staging area, checking the Git status, as well as we have seen how to commit the files. All right. Let's check the Git status once. Okay. So now we have nothing to commit. We have committed everything. We had the file1.txt in local as well as staging area, and we have also added it to the repository. Okay. Now, there is a misconception about Git workflow. Now, a lot of people think that, let me take you back to the diagram. Second, yeah. Now, a lot of people think that once we push the files from staging area to the repository, the staging area becomes empty. Okay, this is not true. Uh, what Git does is Git makes an exact copy of the files in the staging area and pushes the copy to the repository instead of moving the files. Okay. So whenever you push something from staging area to the repository, your staging area is not empty. I hope everyone is clear with this point. This point is very much important. Just drop a message if you're clear with this point. All right. So I'll repeat it once again. Uh, After committing changes, the files which you have committed to the repository are present in the staging area also. In simpler terms, when you push something from your staging area to your repository, the staging area doesn't becomes empty. Okay, it still has the same copy of the files. Now, if you want to remove these files, you have to do this manually. Okay, we'll see that. All right, now we will try to understand this thing with an example. First, let me create one more file. Okay, I'll create one more file, echo hello world, or we'll type something else, new event. I'll write the file name as file2.txt. I'll hit enter. So we have created another file. I'll add the file staging area code once again. All right. This is the code for staging area. Okay. So we were working on the file. Okay. Now we'll add this file to the staging area. How do we do that? Git add file2.txt. Hit enter. We have added file2.txt to staging area. Now we are adding it to the repository. How do we do that? By using the commit command. So we'll give git commit /m, and within double quotes, we'll write our message added the second file. All right, I hit enter. So now we'll check the git log. So till now we have made two commits. The first commit was we created the first file and it has a different commit ID. You can check here. And the second commit was we added a new file, which was the second file, and even that has a different commit ID. Okay. So now we'll try to understand the misconception using an example. Let me come back to the slides. Okay. So now we have two files in our workshop folder. I'll be very clear with the folders and files. So right now in our workshop folder, we are having two files, file1.txt and file2.txt. Now at any point of time, I feel that file2.txt is of no use for me. So I will delete the file. Okay. So now we'll delete the file2.txt from our local system. How do we do that? We have seen it earlier. In order to delete a file, all you have to do is rm file2.txt. Hit enter. All right. Now, if you check the Git status in shorter format, see, this is what I was trying to tell you earlier. D in the sense we have deleted the file2.txt. Okay. So now we have deleted the file2.txt, but I want you to understand that file2.txt is still present in the staging area. Okay. I hope everyone is clear with it. File2.txt, we have deleted it from a local folder only. It's still present in the staging area. So we have to remove it from staging area as well. We'll have a look at this image, file1.txt, and file, one second, just give me a second. Yeah, check out this diagram. So we deleted the file2.txt from our local folder, okay? But file1 and file2 both exist in the staging area, okay? So in order to remove that, we have to add the file2.txt to staging area. How do we remove a file? Git add. Now you can also check here. There is the file2.txt has been removed successfully from our local folder, okay? Now we will remove it from the staging area also. So how do you do that? Git add file2, sorry for the file2.txt. Now you might be asking that this was the code to add file to the staging area. Yes, you're correct. But now what Git will do is Git will decode this command in such a way that it will look for file2.txt. Okay, it will look for the file2.txt in the workshop folder, but there is no file called file2.txt, right? So what Git will do is it will go to the staging area. It will remove the file2.txt. Okay. All right, we'll do this. We'll hit enter. So we have removed the file2.txt from the staging area also. All right. Okay. So I hope everyone understood the misconception. Quickly drop a message so that we can proceed further. We have covered a lot of topics in Git. All right. Will deleting the files from local device also result in deletion from repository? No. Once you make a commit, it is always stored. Okay. It's just like database softwares. It won't be getting deleted from your repository. It will only be getting deleted from your local folder as well as your staging area. Once you take a snapshot, it is going to be stored there until you manually go and delete it using the commit ID. Okay. I hope I'm clear. If anyone has any further doubts, you can drop right now. We'll be clearing the doubts also parallelly. All right. So we'll move with the slides. So we have understood the Git workflow also. So till now we have covered enough about Git. First we saw how to configure our Git. Second we learned how to navigate forward and backward in our terminal. Then we saw how to create a new directory, how to make new files, how to delete the files, how to check the Git log activity, how to add the files to staging area, how to commit a file to the staging area. Also, we have seen how to remove the files from the staging area. Okay, so we have covered a lot of topics in Git. Uh, this is the last topic of Git. We have GitHub also. We'll be covering that one also soon. So we will understand branches. Okay, now talking about branches in technical terms. A branch is an independent line of development that is used to add certain features and fix bugs without tampering the main project. Okay, all right. So once the workshop is over, I'll be sharing the files. Right now, I can't share the files because I have attached the certain links to the files. So at the end of the session, I will be sharing this with the slides. Don't worry about that, Gaurav. All right. So in simpler terms, what talking about Git branches. Okay, let us consider with an example scenario. You have developed a website. I hope most of the people have basic idea about the websites. All right, web development also. So you have developed a website for your desktop device or your PC device. All right. Now it's working properly. There are no bugs in the website. Now you and your team decide that you have to make the design the website also for the mobile devices. Okay. Now instead of doing that in the same branch, okay, we create a new branch. All right, we'll understand with this diagram. Suppose we are here. Okay, you have the complete website for the desktop or PC version. All right, it's working properly, it's bug free. Now you and your team have decided to make similar website for the mobile devices. Now instead of making the changes in the same code, what we will do is we will create a new branch called the mobile development. Okay, we will be committing and making all the changes related to mobile development over here. And once we feel that even the mobile development file is bug free, we'll merge these two branches, the main branch as well as the mobile development branch. Now you might be asking, what is the use of using branches? Just suppose, consider a scenario. You had the file, you started working on the mobile development, all right, mobile website version, and you got some bugs in your website. Now these bugs might also damage your computer version also. All right. So it's quite risky. That's why we use branches. We shift to a new branch. We perform our task, and once we feel that it's bug free and everything is correct, we merge both the branches. So we'll be merging the master and main. Okay, both are similar, and we'll be merging the master branch with the mobile development branch. Don't worry, we'll be trying this also. All right. Now, how to create a new branch? Okay, we'll learn how to create a new branch. In order to create a new branch, you have to type git branch and then branch name. So as we have used this example, I'll be typing git branch. Okay, branch name will be giving mobile dev. Okay, so once you do that, we have created a new branch called mobile dev. Now, at the start of the sense, so is branch a copy of the main code? Yeah, branch will be a copy of main code as well as the new files which you're going to add. Okay, it will be having the new files also, and once you merge them, then it will be a complete copy. All right, I hope I'm clear. Okay, now we have created a new branch called mobile development. Okay, now at the start of the session, I told you that there is something called master. So right now, this master means that we were working till now in the master branch. Okay, we were working till now in the master branch. So now we'll see how to view all the branches in your Git. In order to do that, all you have to do is git branch. You hit enter. You can see here there are two branches. First one, the master default branch, which we were working till now. And the second one is the mobile development branch, which we have created recently. And the green color indicates that right now we are working on the master branch. Okay. So now we have learned how to create a new branch as well as how to view all the branches in our repository. Okay. Now we'll be switching to the mobile development branch. Okay. So how do we switch a branch? In order to switch a branch, you have to use git checkout branch name. Okay. So git checkout branch name was mobile development. I hit enter. Now once you do that, we have switched to the branch name mobile development. Okay. See here, it has changed the branch name also. So right now we are in the mobile development. So we have learned how to create a new branch. First of all, we have learned what are branches, why we use branches. Then we have learned how to create a new branch. And we have also learned how to check out or change a branch. Okay. All right. Now we will learn how to merge branches. Before I do that, all right. So let's come to the workshop folder. Okay. Now in the main branch, we had file1.txt only. I hope I am very clear with the file names as well as the folder names. Okay. So right now we are in the mobile development branch. Okay. We are working separately for the mobile devices. This is just an example scenario. We are not writing actual code over here. So in the mobile development branch, I am adding a new file for the mobile devices. Okay. Let's add that file. Echo new files. Some we can write any text. Okay. The file name will be mobile.txt. Okay. Now when I hit enter, we have created a new file in the mobile development branch. Okay, not in the master branch. You have to be very much clear between these branches, or else you might get confused. So now I will add this file to the staging area quickly. How do we do that? Git add the file name mobile.txt. Okay, so we have added the mobile.txt to the staging area. Now we will add it to repository. And how do we do that? Using the commit command /m space double quotes. We'll write we have added the mobile versions. All right. So this is the command. So if you check the git log activity, there might be 3 commits we have made so far. Okay. Now you can check here. These are the commits we have made in the master branch. Okay, which we were working earlier, and these are the commits that we have made in the mobile development branch. So in mobile development branch, we have added a new file for the mobile versions. It has a separate commit ID. It has captured the author details as well as the time. And over here, in the master branch, it has 2 commits. First commit was we created the first file, and in the second commit, we added the second file. Okay. We have also deleted that file in the master version. All right. So right now we are in the mobile development branch. We'll get back to the branch. All right. So mobile development branch has a new file called file2.txt. Okay. Now we will learn how to merge these branches. All right. Now in order to merge a branch, first we have to switch to the main branch. Okay. So we'll do that. How do we switch to the branches? Git checkout branch name. What was the branch name? Master. For some people, the branch name might be the main branch. It depends upon the terminal you're using. Okay. So basically, main and master both are similar, just the terminologies are different. So now we have switched back to the master branch. Okay. Now, right now, we are working in the master branch. Now we will merge this master branch with the mobile development branch. So we have reviewed our code, and I feel that we have developed a mobile version for the website. So we will merge both the files. Now, how to merge a file? How to merge two branches? You have to type git merge, and then you enter your branch name. So the branch name is mobile dev. I hit enter. All right. Now when you do this, you can check that file2.txt was deleted. Okay, in the main branch or the master branch, whatever we call it, and then we have added mobile1.txt as a new file. Now if you check the git status, we will be having all the commits also. Okay, as well as we'll try to check the list items. So if you check the list items, right now we have 2 files. So we have successfully learned how to merge two branches also. Uh, all right, we have tried this also. So I hope everyone is clear till now. Just drop a message. Congratulations, we have also completed how to perform operations on Git, and you have learned Git also. I request you to perform these operations once after this session also, so that you'll be getting used to it. And also, I request you to do a project using Git. Okay. Now, what do I mean it? Uh, Develop a website or any application, connect it with Git account so that you will understand these terminologies very easier. Just one project. It will take you just one project to understand Git and GitHub. All right. So I hope we are clear till now. We have officially completed the Git part. Now we will be moving on with the GitHub part. Okay. So I hope everyone has an email ID with them. We'll be learning how to create GitHub. Just give me 1 second. I'll be sharing a file also. All right, I'm back. I have shared the file. Uh, I hope my screen is visible as I am also audible. Okay. Now we will set up your GitHub account. We'll do that right now. Uh, okay, so first we'll try to understand what GitHub is. GitHub is basically a website that helps the developer to put their code online. Okay, it performs the similar operations. It will track your projects as well as it will maintain your project history. Okay, so features of GitHub. Uh, GitHub helps you in tracking the project. It maintains your history as well as it is a hosting platform. It's just like LinkedIn, but you can share your codes publicly with other people also, and you can also discuss and make changes in the code of other people. All right, we'll be checking that also. We'll be uh, we'll be going to local website, or we will be exploring some GitHub profiles on the GitHub website also. First, let's set up your GitHub account. So how do you do that? We'll go to Chrome. Right. I have shared the presentation also. All you have to do is just 1 second. Yeah, setting up GitHub. Okay. Just go to the Google Chrome or whatever browser you're using. Type GitHub, enter the first website. Once you enter, I have already logged in. But once you enter, you will be seeing an interface like this. All you have to do is enter your email. You have to create a password, enter your username. Okay. And then once you do that, you have to verify captcha verification. You have to do. Once you do that, your account will be created. I'll be waiting for you guys for a couple of minutes so that you can instantly create your GitHub account. If you already have a GitHub account, no issues. It is much easier for us to get started. So I'll be waiting 2 minutes. I have shared the PDF in the WhatsApp group. In case anyone has any queries, you can drop a message in the chat box. We'll continue exactly within 2 minutes. I'll wait for you guys to set up your GitHub account. I hope everyone is setting up their GitHub account right now. I cannot show you because I don't have an extra email ID. I have already used my email ID. So I request you to set up your GitHub account immediately, and then we'll get started with the sessions. It will take more 15 minutes for us to complete GitHub, and at the end we'll be conducting a quiz. Also, I'll be circulating a form for you guys where you have to fill your details. So so that we'll be using those details in order to provide you with the certificates of the session. Also, once if you're done setting up your GitHub account, drop a message so that I can find out how many people have done it, and then we'll get started with the session. Okay, so I guess most of them already have an account. So we'll start with the session again. Okay, we'll move back to the slides. All right. So first we'll learn the navigation in the GitHub portal. Okay. So this is the GitHub portal. Once you create your account, you'll be having the same user interface. Okay. So over here, at the left, you will be seeing all your repositories. For those people who have created it right now, it might be empty, but don't worry, we'll be creating new repositories also. And talking about here, you can view your profile. You click over here. Uh, you can check out your profile. These are the social links. You can add a description also, and you can pin your repositories. As also, these are the contributions you have made on GitHub so far. So I have made 125 contributions in the last year. Okay, and it will also have all the details of the commits I have made so far. Now, how to switch to repositories? You can click here. Now, once you come here, it will display all the repositories I have. Okay, it's like kind of a public platform where developers can showcase or share their code with other developers. Okay, so you have to understand this point. It's very much important. Now, once you come over here, you can click on any repository. Okay, I'll do some other repository. Um, all right. So if you come over here, you can see the files. These are the README files. Okay, and at the right, it will be showing you the languages you have used so far. All right. And you can also use the click on the files to view the codes. So this is the navigation. These are the actions and issues. We'll be checking out issues later. Don't worry about that. So right now we'll come back to the home page. Now we'll try to explore any public profile also. So we can you can check anyone's profile on GitHub. I'll just enter this name. All right. Now if I come to his profile, I can check out his profile. Okay. I can check out his repositories. Basically I can check all the contributions he has made on the GitHub so far. Good. So this is how you navigate on GitHub. I hope everyone understood how to navigate on GitHub. Just drop a message and we'll get started on creating new repository right now. Right. So we'll get started with creating a new repository. So in order to create a new repository, first we'll come to our profile. We'll click on repositories. Okay. Now we'll click new over here. Okay. Once you do that, you'll be getting this user interface. You can type a repository name. I'll type MLSA workshop. You can type anything. It's your choice. But it must be available publicly. So it's not available. So this username was available. Repository name was available. So I gave this name. You can also add a little description. I'll just add some dummy description for right now. Also, you can set it to public as well as private. Now, once you set it to public, anyone on GitHub can access your repository. And once you set it to private, only you will be able to see the changes as well as the commit histories. Okay. So now you click create repository. We have come here. Okay. So now there are two options. Either you can create a new repository. Okay. Or you can push an existing repository. Okay. Now we had already a repository called workshop over here. So now we'll be learning how to push an existing repository from our local folder to GitHub account. Okay. So in order to do that, we'll come back to the terminal. Okay. And first you have to do is git, you have to write this command git remote. Okay. Add origin. Origin is just a name. You can give anything. And then you have to copy this URL. Now this URL represents your MLSA workshop, okay, that you have created just now. So I'll copy this URL, I'll paste it here, and I'll hit enter. And then we create a main branch, okay, for the Git to understand. So we'll do this Git repository name. You can give any name. You can give any name. There are no such restrictions on it. Git branch, okay, slash m, then main. So we are creating a main branch, okay, that, and we hit enter. The next thing is we push our files. Okay, how do we do that? Git push, okay, space slash u, okay, and then origin. Now again we write the main. Okay, so we are pushing the files to the main branch. Okay, so whatever branch name you give, make sure you use that again while pushing your local files. Once I hit enter, it will take little time depending upon the number of files you are trying to upload. So we have pushed our files. Okay, now if you come here and I'll hit refresh, you can see that we have pushed file one as well as the mobile file to our repository. Okay, so this is how you push your existing repository to your GitHub account. All right, I hope everyone is clear till now. And also you can add a README. Okay, what is a README? So whenever a user comes to your repository, you can just type some text for them to understand what kind of files you have in that particular repository. Okay, once you do that, you click on the commit changes and hit commit. So you have also added a README file. Okay. All right. Next, we'll switch to slides again. So we have learned how to create a new repository. So now we have three branches: main, master, as well as mobile. No, that's the thing I'm trying to explain you. Main and master both mean similar. Okay. It depends upon the terminal you are using. We only have two branches right now. First one is the master slash main. You can call it anything, as well as the mobile development. Okay. I hope I'm clear. All right, now we will learn how to push, we have done how to push our existing repository. I have also added the snapshots. All right, now we'll learn how to commit changes to the GitHub. All right, okay, so we will, just give me a second. We'll switch back to the slide. We'll create a new file, okay. We'll come to the terminal. Right now we are in the main branch. I'll create a new file, echo, we'll write pushing the new file. Okay, the file name will be push.txt. Okay, I hit enter. So now I have created one more file called push.txt. I'll quickly add it to the staging area. Git add push.txt. Okay, now we have added it. I will also commit it. Git commit. Okay, just give me 1 second. All right, so git commit slash m. Okay, adding, will write message adding push files. Okay, now once we do that and we'll hit enter, we have created. Okay, now if you check git status, okay, we have nothing on our main branch. We have pushed everything. Okay, so now we have added one more file. Okay, push file. So in order to update it also on GitHub, all we have to do is type git push. So I'll try to explain it once again. We created a new file on our main branch. Okay, it was named as push.txt. But right now, if you check on GitHub, we don't have that file. Okay. So in order to push that file, all we have to do is commit it first. Okay. Commit it to the repository and then hit and enter git push. Now, once you do that, uh, wait, I'm getting some error. It's probably due to the file naming. Okay. But once you do that, it will automatically get added to your GitHub account also. Okay. All right. We'll switch to the next slide. If you reload and check, you'll also get the new file which you have committed right now. Okay. So now we'll learn how to delete a repository. In order to delete a repository, you have to come to settings. Okay. Scroll down. All right. And if you click delete this repository, and you have to just accept the terms, and it will be asking you to type this command. And once you type and hit delete this repository, you will be deleting your repository completely and it cannot be restored, right? So you have to understand that also. So right now I won't be deleting it. We'll switch back to the workshop repository. All right. Yeah. So we have learned how to create a repository, how to push an existing repository to GitHub. We have configured your GitHub account, as well as we have learned the files, adding new files also. Okay. So now issues. Now what issue? What are issues? Now we were exploring a public repository. Okay. We'll go back to that user profile. All right. So we have come. Oh, okay. We'll pick any one repository. If I pick this one, if you come over to the issues section, okay. Since this is a public hosting platform, so anyone can make changes. All right. So if you feel that there is any bug in the code, then you just create a new issue. All right. You write a title. You mention about the issue to the author and submit an issue. Once you do this, the author gets an notification that there is a bug in their code and he will try to update it. So this is what about issues, as well as forking. We'll check out forking. So if I like this repository and now I feel that I need to work on my own. So instead of editing over here, I will create a copy of this repository in my GitHub account. So how do we do that? You have to click fork. Okay. Okay. I have already forked this repository. That's why I'm unable to do it. We'll pick another repository. All right. Will come here. Now, if I click fork, it will create the same repository name, okay, and it will create a local copy of the same repository in my GitHub account. I'll show you how that's done. All right. So now we have forked this. Now, if I come back to my profile and check out the repositories, there must be a repository with the similar name. So just give me a second. All right. It's here, React Wavy transition. Okay, so we have forked the file. Now you CS sidebars is also forked. So now if I edit changes over here, these changes won't be reflected in the user profile of the person. Okay, so you can make changes, you can make commit. Basically, you get a local copy and you can perform all the operations that you want to do. So we have understood what issues are, what forking are. Now we will quickly check how to create a new branch also. Okay. This is the last slide. Since we are running out of time, we'll conduct a quiz after this one. Okay. All right. So how to create a new branch? We'll come back to a repository. We'll go to the workshop repository. Okay, we are here. Now, if you come here, right now there are one branch. Okay. If you try to view all the branches, okay, we'll create a new branch over here. We have already have the main branch. Now I will create a new branch. We'll call something as GitHub branch, and I will hit enter. Now, once you do that, we'll create a new branch. You come back to the repository folder. You check here. Now we have created two branches. First one was the main branch, which has both the files of the mobile development as well as the master branch. And the second branch is GitHub branch. Okay. Now in the GitHub branch, next thing is how do we merge branches? Okay. So now, right now, we are performing the task in the GitHub branch. Okay. So I'll try to add a file. I'll try to speed up little since we are running out of time. So I will add a new file in the GitHub branch. Okay. So right now we are in the GitHub branch. We'll be adding a new file. I will just type something. All right. Once I have done that, uh, okay, we'll add a file instead of making changes. We'll come here. We'll upload a file. Okay, so we'll upload this file over here. It's loading. Once it's loaded, we will commit the changes to the GitHub branch. Okay, so now we have added this file to the GitHub branch. If you check GitHub branch, it has three files: file1.txt, mobile.txt, as well as setting up github.pdf. Now your main branch does not have the new file which we have recently added. So in order to merge these branches, you will get a notification once you make a change. All you have to do is click on compare and pull request. Okay. Once you do it, you have to create a pull request. Okay. You have to add certain description in case if you want. And once you have created a new pull request, uh, you will get an option to merge the pull request. So once I do this, I'll click on the merge pull request and confirm merge. Okay. So now we have successfully merged the branches as well as closed the branches. Okay. So if we come back to the repository and if we check the master or main branch, okay. Right now we are in the main branch. So we have three files. Okay. So we have completed the workshop on Git and GitHub. Congratulations. I hope you have learned. Now we'll be conducting. I will be sharing you bonus resources. So there is something called GitHub code space. Okay, so in case if your device does not have specifications to run VS Code, all you have to do is you can go to code spaces. Okay, I'll hit code spaces. You have to register for this, and once you do that, you can directly open your repository right from here. Okay, you have to register for that. I'll teach you how to do that. Once you come to your repository, and if you hit create code space, okay, it will take some time. It will launch a cloud version of VS Code with that repository files also. Okay. Just give me a minute. It's setting up the remote connection. All right. So once it will get loaded, you can make changes here also. So this was the bonus issues I wanted to talk about. So we have completed the workshop on Git and GitHub. So now I'll be sharing two links. First, I'll be sharing the form link. We'll be opening the form for 5 minutes exactly. Okay, right from we share the link, and then we'll be sharing a review form as well as the certificate form. So I request you to fill both of them, and we'll be sharing the incentives based upon the participation. All right, guys, I am about to share the quiz form, so don't leave the session. And once you have done the quiz form, please stay. We will be circulating another form for the certificates also. Okay, so I'll share the quiz form. It will be active exactly for 5 minutes. All right, here you go. All right, guys, 2 more minutes exactly. After that, we'll be closing the quiz form. For then it will not accept further responses. So be quick. All right, last 30 seconds. We'll be closing the form. Be quick. All right, submitted. Great, great. Submitted, submitted. Okay, I'm going to close the form. Request everyone to submit right now. Right, I guess everyone has done. I'm closing the form. Okay, I've closed the form officially. I have also shared our LinkedIn profile. So in case if you want, you can also follow us on LinkedIn. Now I'll be sharing another form. Okay. Now this form will contain the review as well as your details. One thing I want to mention, please do not provide your college email IDs as we are not associated with any college. We request you to give your personal email ID for the certificates as well as review. And also, our team will be checking your meeting duration for generating certificates. You'll be receiving your certificates via your mail ID, which you are going to enter right now. Okay. We'll review the duration for which you were present, and then we will provide you with the certificates. And also about the vouchers, it will take us 1 week time to process these vouchers. It will take us 1 week time to process these vouchers. And once we receive it from the teams, we'll be sharing it to the top performers of the quiz. Okay, so I'm sharing the form. You can submit the form. And thank you guys for attending the workshop. I hope everyone had a great time. I had a great time hosting my first online public event. It was a great experience, and you guys were very responsive throughout the session. Uh, I didn't expect these number of attendees, but I'm very happy. I'd request you to fill the form, and once you have done, you can leave the meet. Once again, I repeat about the certificates. You will be getting your certificates through mail within a couple of days. My quiz and team's mail ID are different. That doesn't matter. Just give a mail ID on which you want to receive certificate. Make sure that you don't give your college email ID because we are not associated with any colleges. And once you have done the form, you can leave the session. Thank you guys. Thank you for attending the workshop. I had a great time. Bye.